Alrighty, I just got back home, so let's start today with some analysis on the currencies. And let's start off with USD CAD. Okay, USD CAD is one of my favorite pairs because it's quite safe and it really kind of respects engulfing theories most of the time. So we have our sell zone up here and our buy zone down here. Why is it a sell zone? This was already marked from a few days ago. So we have an engulfing buy that failed, and we have our engulfing sell, first engulfing sell over here. Price came back, poked the key level right here before dropping. Okay, it did not create the second engulfing sell just yet. Then on our buy zone, we have multiple engulfing buys within the zone. Now the current price is in the buy zone. So not only did I mark the H4, I marked this M15 for you to monitor. Right? We have an engulfing sell that failed. And the price came in, created engulfing buys within the zone, and respected quite well, causing these bounces. Right? And from M5 we switched to from M15 we switched to M5. So now you see this engulfing sell broke. In the process of breaking, create an engulfing buy and another engulfing buy. So either you can enter now or wait for the price to retrace back into this zone before pressing buy up. Okay, so I think I need coffee. I'm stuttering a lot. Anyway, USD CAD, what can it do? Oops. Okay, current price. If it decides to respect this zone, then potentially we can catch a buyback up. Monitor the M5 and M15, the one that I just showed you. But if it breaks the zone on H4, then potentially it could test a lower zone. After breaking the zone, it could shoot down in one go or retrace back into the key level for a better sell down. Vice versa, if the price decides to shoot up into our sell zone and respects it, then potentially we can catch a sell back down. But if it breaks the zone, then potentially it might want to test a higher zone. That could be this one. Okay? Where do you find your entries? Again, M5 and 15, the one that I just marked. So mark it on your zone. Wait for H4 to close before entering. All right. Now we move on to GBP AUD. Okay. GBP AUD. This is on H4. Perfect. So we have our buy zone here and our sell zone up here. It's quite close, but GBP AUD, even though it's close proximity from here to here, that's already almost 200 pips, all right? So the buy zone, why did I mark it? Because this is an engulfing sell that failed over here. The process of failing created an engulfing buy, then price created another engulfing buy. So we have A, B, C, right? When the price came in over here, it's testing these two key levels. The previous H4 tested this key level, dropped even further down. Now the price is testing this key level. So wait for H4 to close first, because if H4 closes within the zone, then maybe we can try to find a setup for a buyback up. But if H4 decides to close below the zone, then potentially it might just drop even lower. All right, and our sell zone up here is an engulfing buy that failed. In the process of failing, created an engulfing sell. So what can it do? Let's just do this real quick. If H4 decides to respect it, then potentially it could bounce back up. All right, but if H4 decides to close below, again, it might want to test a lower zone like this. If H4 decides to bounce back and enter our sell zone, then potentially we can catch a sell back down. But if H4 decides to break our sell zone, then it might want to test a higher zone. All right, where do you place your SLs? Again, just set 40 pips from your entry to manage your losses. All right, always set your SLs. Again, SL 40 pips. Now we move on to the last pair, USD JPY. Okay. So USD JPY, we have two sell zones and our buy zone. I'm not going to focus on this too much because we are looking at this. The current price is over here. So we have an engulfing buy that failed. Price came back up, created an engulfing sell, then created the second engulfing sell and another engulfing sell. But as it creates the volume of the sellers really lessened, right? It really went smaller and smaller. So we will wait for H4 to close and see where this H4 might go. Okay, then our buy zone, this is an engulfing buy, and the price respected, meaning it really poked the key level and flew up. Okay, I don't want to mark any zones in between because it is a black zone, it's the void. So I'm gonna focus on the highs and the lows for a big pip movements. Okay, so what can USDJPY do? If H4 decides to respect this, then you can switch down to M15 or M5 to find a setup for a sell down. But if it closes above, or say this H4 when it closes and once the new one opens, and you're waiting for a setup to form and the setup does not form, simply don't enter yet, okay? Wait for the next H4. Wait for the US session. If it does not happen and let's say it creates a buy setup instead, then wait for H4 to close above first and wait for the retracement into the key level for a better buy up, okay? That will lower your risk in the opposite direction, okay? So if it breaks above this zone, then we know we have a higher zone up here. So it can do this, all right? Vice versa, if it drops down into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially we can catch a bounce back up. But if it decides to break this zone, then potentially it might want to test a lower zone below. Okay, so that's for all the three pairs. Remember, it's only midweek. Don't go ham on it. Trade smart, trade wisely, and please manage your account accordingly.